Okay, rolling. Alright guys, this is JJND and welcome to CG Market Watch Live. Alright, so today's news is gonna be a summary of what had happened last week. I think there's a lot of news that happened last week, so just gonna do a quick summary. And of course, we're gonna talk about the market, which is mainly BTC, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Alright, so first up, we see that Bitcoin dominance is currently hovering at 51.3%. And I think last Friday, if you could recall, it was also about 51.8 to 51.5, right? So what we see now is that the odds are starting to take over in terms of volume slightly, and some of the BTC volume has actually flowed over to some of the altcoins. Okay, so of course today is a Monday, weak volume, and it's actually a holiday over in China. So I'm not sure whether that has an impact on the cryptocurrency market, but apparently we have a lack of volume going on. So we can see that Bitcoin is still strong, 0.61% for the last 24 hours. We see that Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, the main big four, ain't doing that well. Stellar, on the other hand, had some great news today. I think Stellar X was just launched. I'm not going to cover it so much, but I think it has quite a fair bit of potential here. And then Litecoin, Tether, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of see that 50% of the different coins are doing okay, and 50% of the other projects or tokens are not doing as well. Okay, so this is the current trend that we're looking at. Yeah, and so this is the market as of now. Okay, so of course the good thing is we are still above 220 billion, so that's kind of good news. But hopefully we'll see more volume coming in tomorrow and the week and this coming week. But of course, just take note, today and tomorrow is Chinese holiday over in China, so expect less volume coming from the China side. Alright, so just to give a quick summary, I think Molly from Cointelegraph wrote a pretty good summary for last week, so I'm just going to quickly cover through what happened last week, okay, very quickly. So this is on Cointelegraph. So top stories for this week, last week, Google reverses crypto ad ban. I think I talked about it on last Friday. It allows crypto exchanges in Japan, US to advertise. Okay, so this is kind of like the good news. In fact, Walmart also announces mandatory blockchain use for leafy green suppliers, right? So this is kind of like the real world application of blockchain, right? And there's a lot of people on the internet that says that blockchain is the king, whereas cryptocurrency is bullshit. Okay, so a lot of comments are being made like that. That blockchain technology is actually here to stay. And we're looking at Tokyo Whale Mt. Gox Trustee actually have a final crypto sell-off equal to 230 million. So the good thing is, I guess, it did not really impact the market as much, even though the announcement was made. So I think previously, whenever there was a sell-off from Mt. Gox, it actually did had an impact on the market. So now the market is building resilience on that. Of course, BUC also announces first offering set to be physical Bitcoin futures. I think this kind of sets the stage as to what BUC can do, right? It also streamlines the whole process, so that when New York Stock Exchange or BUC, or even when SEC do approve BUC, it sets the stage. It sets the benchmark for whichever funds that will come in and you want to apply to be an ETF. So BUC sets the stage for everything else to come, and I think it's really important that they set the stage right. Coinbase also announces new listing for digital assets. So I think this is one good news. We will start seeing more asset being listed on Coinbase where you can purchase it upfront, okay, easily. So I won't go into law and taxes. I think it's a bit what I want to talk about is adoption. Okay, so Australian government actually used the Ethereum blockchain to issue 135 billion in government bonds. So this is really the application of Ethereum. In fact, we were talking about just last week that Ethereum actually has a lot more transactions than Apple themselves. I mean, volume-wise, it's more than Apple. Okay. In fact, there was also one article that said that Ethereum transaction or TPS is actually kind of about 1/10 of Visa for now. Okay, so which is quite interesting. So you can see how it was issuing government bonds in an auction. All right. Circle also launches new US dollar backed stable coin through Center Consortium. So I'm not gonna emphasize so much on that, but we start seeing more US dollar coin or US dollar hedged coin coming out. From example, Gemini through US dollar Tether, and many different companies. They're all kind of doing the same thing. Why? Because it's giving you access into cryptocurrency, right? Just by having a US dollar hedged or backed cryptocurrency. Okay, so large Thai bank actually tests Visa blockchain program for cross-border payments. So Thailand is also up and rising for cryptocurrencies as well. Okay, so funding round, VC and also Goldman Sachs lead 25 million funding round for a blockchain startup. So this is also quite interesting. We know that the major banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, are all coming into the space. So as of now, of course, to improve the services of a bank, even if it's cross-payment, banks will be utilizing blockchain technology first. Then comes the cryptocurrency. So guys, you understand that we are all about blockchain tech first. Then we talk about speculative value of a cryptocurrency, and the cryptocurrency have to serve a purpose. If not, it's practically useless in that sense. All right. Okay, so I think this is all for the news last week. I think this is a great summary of what had happened last week. So let's just await for more great news this week. And so let's talk about Bitcoin's price and Ethereum, then Litecoin. Okay, so I hope this is what you're waiting for. But so I basically did a simple chart. All right, and I've been learning some pattern or price action trading for the last few days, and I just want to bring across certain pointers here. So we kind of realized that BTC is going through a consolidation as of now, and I hate saying this word because everyone in the office always laugh at me saying that BTC is always ranging and consolidating, but you kind of know it's the truth, right? So back me up, like this video and back me up. It's true, right? So it's really irritating when you see Bitcoin just hovering between 6,004 to about 6,006 or 6,007. Like, it's hardly able to break through. Okay, so basically when you draw this diagonal line that you can see, okay, let me just widen this so that you can see better. Just bold it more. Okay, so you kind of can see, hey, don't know that BTC is actually hovering below the resistance line, right? This diagonal line. So what may happen, okay, potentially, is that we do see a downward action twice. So this resistance they were unable to break through. So you could see two major resistance line and supported by this particular diagonal support line at the bottom. So what you see here is kind of like a bullish pennant forming. Of course, people can argue with me that this is a triangle, ascending triangle. This could potentially be a flag, or not really a flag, but this could potentially be a wedge. There's many ways of interpreting it, but this is just my simple way of looking at things. But I potentially see another run up, another testing at the resistance line, and this is on a 4 hours chart. So if we do break out from here, I guess this is all good news for all of us, right? That our wait is over. But we kind of expect that this won't really come so soon, right? And so what I'm really looking at is that we will not be able to break through this resistance at about $6,789. What we'll see is we will dip back down towards the support of the diagonal line. Here it's about 6,600. So this could be the last point of purchase for most people, right? So if you're still kind of stuck in Tether, you don't know what to do, I think the EMAs for both 50 and 200 will catch up to this point, and it's above the Ichimoku cloud. So just nice, it forms a very strong support line, and we'll just break out from there. Okay, so that could be the potential play that I'm really looking at. So based on a 4 hours chart, you could see a very strong resistance and support range here being built up as well. So you'll most likely see it being resisted at $7,130. And ultimately, I mentioned this last week as well, is that we have to break above the previous high of 6,400 level before we can really kind of conclude that we are kind of in a slight bullish bias. Okay, so of course BTC will still be going up slightly, dipping and then going up again. So this is just a natural cycle, a harmonic kind of pattern or cycle that we need to form before the next price up. Okay, so this is just my own personal point of view for BTC. Now let's look at Ethereum. So most of you should kind of know that last week, or most of the time, I'm not very excited about Ethereum. But looking at Ethereum's price wise or chart wise, in fact on Sunday, yesterday, I think Ethereum actually went up faster or higher than BTC, right? It went up by about 8%, which is pretty pleasant to know. I know some of you are back holding Ethereum, but you could see how the patterns are being formed. So we can see three green soldiers here, and we could see three green soldiers here as well, 1, 2, 3 in terms of candle, and you can see there's identical in terms of volume for these two candles. Okay, so it's kind of like a similar pattern in that sense. You see three kind of parallel lines being formed. So personally, but the good thing is, I guess, is that we are forming a higher high in that sense. So every time we kind of have this kind of triangle pattern, we do have a new high being formed. Okay, so that's kind of like a good thing that actually takes place, right? I mean, you want a higher high to form, because only then that means we have price action moving up the price. So what's going to happen here most likely is that if you're going to see a downturn like that, okay, because BTC is going to dip accordingly to my previous chart, then we might see BTC heading downwards towards $226 level, or even beyond, maybe lower than that, would be 220, and then suddenly the breakout happens again. So this is much similar to how BTC will run. And I think EMA 200 will be the one that resists the level of 240, which previously has been kind of like a resistance and support level as well. So I think Ethereum will be more or less playing range bound in that sense. It's kind of like a similar pattern to BTC, but you could see how a symmetrical triangle is playing out at this current moment. Okay, so it can go either direction. That all depends on where BTC is heading. Okay, now coming to the final one, we talk about Litecoin. Of course, Litecoin pattern it's kind of similar to Ethereum as well. This is on 4 hours, so you kind of see a more macro point of view for Litecoin. You tend to see a similar kind of pattern. However, at this point in time, Litecoin is really going through, we're not sure where's the direction. It could be bilateral, but of course there's a bullish biasness, so I'm kind of putting 2 arrows here. This is just my own personal belief, but we do see that if you kind of look at this particular line or this particular candle here, of course it's kind of like a bearish bias. Okay, but when you kind of understand that you see this, okay, and okay, my point of view is simple. We kind of see, in order to break one negative cycle, two negative cycle, we need to have the first positive cycle breaking out of this. So it kind of broke out. It's like an engulfing candle. It engulfs the previous dip, and then we have this kind of engulfing the previous dip in that sense, and this one kind of forms the last pattern. So it's kind of breaking the previous patterns in that sense. Okay, now of course similarly we have to kind of break out from the previous high, which is at $68, in order for us to kind of qualify it to be a bullish bias or bullishness in that sense. But of course this will be a very, very heavy range that I think Litecoin will have to go through in order for us to kind of break out from that level. So we shall see how hard is it gonna be for Litecoin to kind of break out towards between $67 to about $69. Okay, so that's the level that I'm really looking for. But you can see 3 very similar formation, much like Ethereum, 3 very similar formation, and same as BTC, 3 very kind of similar formation. And therefore I think that prices will kind of respect this harmonic pattern across the main 3, which is BTC, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Of course, okay, let's have a quick bonus session, okay, since we're already here. Let's see. Okay, let's look at maybe Ripple. Okay, so I'm not really a big fan of Ripple, but I was just charting it just now. And we can see an upward channel being formed, and it has of course went up due to the hype, and there's rumor that the founders were actually selling Ripple at that point. But I mean, we don't know, right? So this is all speculation. But what we can see here is that it's on an upward channel. That's kind of like a good news. But of course, we have to kind of break out from this particular level, right? Which is at 0.00009351. Okay, in order for more movement to come for Ripple. And last of all, let's take a look at EOS too. We've got quite a lot of questions about EOS. All right, so okay, so let me go to the 4 hours chart. Okay, so once again, I can just see a very simple symmetrical triangle being formed here as well. So you can kind of see that charts are almost forming the same kind of pattern on and off, and it's kind of just hovering around, and we can see the similar, if you can see the lines here, it's kind of forming the same similar pattern, the 3 lines pattern as the rest of the altcoins like I mentioned. So I'm not even kidding, right, that most charts are actually of the similar pattern. So remember the big dip also coming from Litecoin? yeah, so almost all of the main few tokens we're talking about, Cardano, EOS, Litecoin, maybe not Ripple is exclusive, but just a few of them, they're kind of going through the same pattern in that sense, and mostly are forming a symmetrical triangle. The only exception, I guess, is BTC, when we're not really as a symmetrical triangle, but it's really kind of like a bullish pennant. So I really hope it will play out like that, which is a small dip, and then we'll go up and break out from there. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. This is all the time I have. For more analysis, do catch us in CG Elite group. Elite members who are watching, or legacy members watching this, I'll see you later tonight for the webinar, and more prizes update will be there. See you guys.